Hello, everyone. Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. Today's video is a review recap of The Wheel of Time, Episode 5, Blood Calls Blood. On this episode, Perrin and Egwene run into a familiar face. Man, that's one way to put it. I'm just reading the synopsis from Prime and before we get into it. Matt and Rand see strange ones, and Moraine and Lan mourn their loss. Jeez. Man, this is those recaps are insane by Amazon. Um, but yeah, so spoilers for going forward for Wheel of Time episode 5, probably all the episodes before as well. No spoilers from the book. I've never read the book or the comics or anything like that, so you won't get any spoilers ahead of this episode for me. Um, so uh, before the credits even hit, we see the Aes Sedais and their their wardens and stuff collecting their dead, burying their dead after the big battle with the army that came to attack them on behalf of the imposter, the Dragon Reborn, as he calls himself. Um, and then we get the credits. We get a 1 month time skip. That I'm glad that they're doing stuff like this so we can kind of move the story forward. And but it doesn't lead us to questions like, oh, how did they get there so fast or whatever. I think some other shows that I won't name have been uh, criticized a little bit because they weren't very clear on timelines and places and how they were going. Especially, I'm sure fans of the book, they know where everything kind of is. All these battles where they happen, they have a nice map probably from the book. So let's hit this by locations. We do have some of our people they eventually kind of meet up. So let's start with the ones that don't meet up. So Perrin and Egwene encounter the Questioner, which is part of the White Cloaks, as they close in on the White Tower, and they are unfortunately captured. The travelers that they were going with, they try to defend them. They try to escape. I do like the confrontation of philosophies of like, we are the light, so we do things a certain way. But then these travelers, they do things the way of the leaf. So I really like that the confrontation between different ideologies. Um, so after that, Perrin is tortured, and the questioner, who we learn his name, he has to be called Child Vald. Although thanks to the Amazon X-ray feature, I learned that his name is Amon Vald, but he wants to be referred to as Child Vald. He's torturing Perrin in order to have Egwene display her powers, because that way he can kill her. Either way, he wants to kill one of the two. Um, so things are not looking good for them both. Um, when they're there, he leaves them alone in this, like, kind of to make their choice, like who dies really. Perrin confesses to killing Layla, uh, and this, like, I guess he's kind of getting ready to die because he's tied up. He's being drained of his blood through like cuts in his back. Um, Egwene tries to channel her power, but is not very strong. But this does lead to Perrin unleashing his own power, which also, like I said, we've been seeing the wolves traveling with them all along, and I knew they were going to pay off, and they finally did in this episode. So that they're able to both get out of their restraints, and then as they leave the camp, they kill Child Vlad or Child Vald, and then the wolves are just destroying the White Cloaks in the camp, very very savagely. Um, Now going over to Matt and Ran, which I'll tell you this, Matt's not looking so good. They're also part of this 1 month time skip. And I think everyone got jumped over 1 month forward. They close in on a city, Tarvalon, which seems to be the city that's around the White Tower. But they don't want to go straight to the tower. They want to go somewhere like at an inn, clean up, maybe heal Matt, because like I said, he's not looking so good. I will say this city, it looks impressive. Um, like the set looks like they spent a lot of money putting this city together because it's like the main city that we're gonna probably be on this season for a little while. So I can see a lot of things happening here. The city looks great. I really love the. It looks like it's lived in. It looks like it's just a really cool setting. Also, some of the establishing shots from the beginning of the, like anytime the show's doing an establishing shot, like a quick look at the forest or a mountain or a volcano, and then we get like these cool shots from above, like all that stuff. The show does really well. But back to Matt and Rand. Uh, so as they finally find a room at an inn, uh, Rand Matt is resting, but like I said, we can tell something's wrong with him after their confrontation with the Fae last episode. Unfortunately, Tom died, who was a cool character, but he didn't stick around too long. Um, and then we see that Rand is at this library, and then he meets an ogier. I think it's what they said in the show. Let me know in the comments if you can explain to me a little bit what an ogier is. It seems like it's definitely not a human. I thought I heard ogre the first time, but then when I looked at the closed captioning, it said ogier. We meet Loyal, son of Arendt, son of Halam. Um, and then he calls Rand an ale man, and I don't know what that is either. And I'm very interested because he mentioned that the ailman would have the red hair like Rand does. We still haven't really seen any powers from Rand, so I'm very interested in that. But yeah, this uh, Loyal is a very he is a very quirky character, but he's interesting. He looks pretty wild. Like he's a little bit bigger than a normal human. And he's got like these exaggerated features. So if you have read the book, let me know how that description kind of fits. Is that what you would picture when you saw, I guess this species of character? Um, we do have, like I said, so Loyal is able to go to the White Tower and brings back Nynaeve after having a conversation with Rand, because for some reason he has access to the White Tower. Uh, and then Nynaeve comes back and she's trying to heal Matt, but he kind of snaps at her a little bit. So yeah, Matt's not looking good. As they bring in the Dragon Reborn, everybody sees them, which kind of coincides with the other group. The dragon, the fake dragon, Logain. Uh, he looks up at Matt, uh, and he sees something in him, but then we realize that that's just kind of like a vision, or it's in Matt's imagination. So unfortunately, as much as I like Matt, I think he's been touched by the Dark One. So hopefully they can get him out of that. So which that brings us to the last group. So like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, we see Moraine and the other Aes Sedais, and their wardens. Um, they they bury their dead. They move on. They finally arrive at the White Tower, and they do a really cool. Well, not a really cool, but they just do this. I guess they walk in through the town to expose Logain as the fake Dragon Reborn. Um, so they're also preparing for Stepan, who's the ward whose Asa died in the last episode, needs to return the ring to this like fire thing that melts the rings, and they kind of have a ceremony for that. We see a little bit more inside the White Tower. We see the accommodations, and we have a lot of characters having conversations. Um, Specifically, Moraine and Laura Lane. Uh, there's a power struggle there between the Reds, and I assume I haven't seen any other blue Aes Sedai, so I don't know how many are there around. Um, but I can definitely see a struggle there. There's definitely a lot of politics in the White Tower, even between the Aes Sedai and everybody that's kind of there. I didn't realize that the Reds don't have warders until they mentioned it this episode. For some reason, it never clicked in my head that I never saw any men around with them. Um, so yeah, now that Nynaeve goes back to the palace, and then So here's a bit of a trigger warning for self harm. Um, Stepan's been suffering because of their connection to his Aes Sedai. Um, he can't process the pain, so he's having a toast with Lan before they kind of move on, and they he becomes connected to a different person, I guess. Um, but instead, he drugs Lan with some tea that he got to some sleeping tea, and he does commit suicide. Uh, and from then we have his own burial, which seems very intense. Lan is the one that is grieving the most, I guess, or on behalf of everyone. It's kind of a weird thing because he's the only one that's there to touch Stepan. But then we see how strong the connection is between the Ward and the Aes Sedai, because as Lan is hurting, we see Moraine also crying because they feel the same pain, right? So yeah, this episode was very intense. I love the city though. I hope we spend a few more episodes in here. If not, I don't know that it'll be the rest of the season, but at least a few more episodes. I hope Ewan and Perrin can meet up with everyone else in Tarvalon. But yeah, very excited. This has been probably one of my favorite episodes. Definitely, I enjoyed this one more than the last one. Last one was really good at the end, but it was a little slow all throughout. So if you're a new fan, let me know how you're enjoying the show. If you're an old fan of the books and the series, let me know how you're enjoying the adaptation. We're 5 episodes in. I think at this point, you probably have kind of made up your mind as to how you're feeling about the show. I'm really enjoying it as a new fan, which is why I keep doing these videos every week. So thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live, when we drop videos and stuff like that. Leave us a comment with your thoughts on this video. We're doing some other TV recaps. We always do comic book reviews, movie reviews, and we try to go live on Sundays at 10 a.m. Central. So stay tuned for that. So thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.